Good day and welcome back to another DBZ Dokkan Battle video. So in this video I'm going to take you guys through the Resurrected Warriors SBR. So in this SBR, it's not too bad to run in terms of free-to-play cards that you can use. You have the LR Marjube, who is a good free-to-play card. You've got the World Tournament Demon King Piccolo, who's also a really good free-to-play card. We have quite a few decent options. You have the Piccolo, the Agility Piccolo is a free-to-play card that you guys can use. So we've got enough decent options here. We've also got the Oob, the physical Oob. But here what we're going to do is we're going to have physical Oob. We're going to pair him up with the Marjube, so that we can have them as one pairing essentially. Then what we're going to do is we're going to have the other pairing be the Freezers. So just in terms of this Marjube, he's pretty good. I mean, this Oob, he's got key +1 in attack and defense plus 30% at the start of the turn, gaining up to 30% at the start of each turn. Plus he gets 100% extra attack when he receives an attack, and he guards all attacks when there's a World Tournament or a Goku enemy. So the one nice thing is in this stage there is a Goku enemy in the final stage. So that's very good for this Oob, obviously. Then in terms of stats, he's pretty decent being an easy A unit. He's got 11,000 HP, 9,000 attack, 7,000 defense. But the main thing that he brings is his stunning. He's got a medium chance to stun the enemy, which is really, really good at 30% extra chance to stun. Then him paired up with this Oob that we have is also pretty good. So this Oob you can get from the Battlefield store. I've used him in quite a few SBR, even Extreme SBR. He's pretty good. He raises his ki by up to 6 and attack and defense by up to 90% depending on the amount of health left. He lowers attack on both 12 and 18 ki, and also when HP is less than 40% he heals, and that heal gives you an extra 40% health. So that's a pretty good pairing that they have there. In terms of links, it's not like wild, their links, but their links are pretty good. They both have Infighter, they both have Tough as Nails, they both have Shattering the Limit, I believe. No, they both have Tough as Nails, they both have Infighter, they both have Revival as a link. Yeah, and then that's it. So yeah, but that's still pretty good overall. It's not too bad. That's 3 links and they're pretty good links. Infighter is obviously extra attack, Tough as Nails is extra defense, big extra defense, and Revival's also a bit of HP and extra defense, so it's pretty good there. Then in terms of the other rotation, we've got the Friend, because I don't have the TR, we've got the Friend physical Final Form Freezer, Angel. He's another Resurrected Warriors lead. We're going to use him to transform in the first turn. In his transform state he has attack and defense plus 120%. He's got plus an additional attack and defense of 80%. And he's got a great chance of stunning the attacked enemy when performing a super attack. He reduces damage received by 50% when HP is 40% or less. He also massively raises attack for 1 turn and causes immense damage to the enemy. So because it's a passive stun, obviously just remember that it's only 1 turn that it's a passive stun for. The guy we're going to link him with is the Emperor's True Splendor Golden Freezer Angel, who's got attack and defense, attack of 150%, defense of 50%, but he lowers superclass allies and enemies attack by 15%. Because he won't be on the same rotation as the Oobs, and they are only super units, it's not too bad a passive for him on our team. They both share pretty good links. They both have prodigies, they both have strongest clan in space, they both have shocking speed, I believe. No, they both have prodigies, they both have revival. No, they both have prodigies, they both have universe's most malevolent, they both have strongest clan in space, and that's it. Yes, no, and Torment the Power, okay, and Fierce Battle. So yeah, decent links, not too bad there. They've got prodigies, which is a decent link, strongest clan in space, yeah, universe's most malevolent, Tournament of Power, and Fierce Battle. So 5 links, which is pretty good. And then yeah, overall in terms of their linkage that they've got there, pretty decent. Then we all have the floating Demon King Piccolos. We could use the Demon King Piccolos as a rotation, DKP and the Strength DKP. They would make a decent pairing. Obviously you guys know DKP from my Extreme Tech ESBR. Very good unit. He raises defense 1 turn on both 12 and 18 key, and with 5 or more key spheres, he reduces damage by 50%. So that is obviously going to be very, very good. The other unit that we've brought along for the ride is the LR Int Cooler Army, who's pretty good. Obviously, I went out and rainbowed him with some of the battlefield currencies, also Battlefield Store LR. And he's pretty reliable, if not a tad underwhelming, because he doesn't activate as many links as you'd like, especially since not a lot of people on this team have big bad bosses for him to link into on a floater especially. But he shares strongest clan in space with the freezer rotation, and he has shocking speed as well to share with Oob. He raises attack and defense by up to 90% depending on how much health is remaining, and he's got a high chance to launch up to 2 additional attacks, each of which has a chance to become a super attack. He also raises extreme class allies attack by 30%, but that won't matter too much because we're using him in the 3rd slot. Overall, pretty good unit just in general. And then we can obviously see from there. So the first fight went quite smoothly, as you could tell. We didn't have too many problems. Oob and Oob make a decent linking pairing, because Oob can lower attack and defense, and then the other Oob can obviously get the stun off as well, which is pretty good. Oob with 2 dupes in him, which we're currently using right now, has decent enough stats that he can tank pretty decently in this category. We will have to use an item, but you know, that's just one of those things. It's mainly because of the strength unit attacking in on the physical Oob there. And then we've got DKP, who unfortunately is not going to be able to get everything we want him to get there. So as you can see, Oob taking pretty decently. His attack lowering really helps because it keeps their attack low. As you guys know, in SBR, attack lowering can super help once you can stack it. And then once Oob gets a couple stuns, we'll really be able to see him benefit the team. I went full additionals on this Oob mainly, just because of that stunning ability. And we have the Strength Demon King Piccolo, who's going to follow things up for us. So in terms of this Strength Demon King Piccolo, he's pretty decent. He's defense plus 100%, plus ki plus 3, and attack plus 200% for 5 turns from the start of battle. Ki plus 2 and attack plus 120% starting from the 6th turn. The only thing with this Demon King Piccolo is that weirdly enough, he doesn't link that well with the LR Demon King Piccolo. I don't know, it's a little bit strange. So the LR Demon King Piccolo only gets Thirst for Conquest after he transforms. They both share the Incredible Adventure, and then that's pretty much it, plus Guidance of the Dragon Balls, I think. So yeah, Incredible Adventure, Thirst for Conquest once he transforms, Guidance of the Dragon Balls, Nightmare as well, yeah, and Fierce Battle. So yeah, they don't share Fierce Battle. So they share 4 links, which is okay, but it's a bit weird. Obviously, this Demon King Piccolo doesn't have the revival. He's a little bit of an older unit, so if he had the revival link, it would be a lot better, because then he would link up for 2 ki and 5% attack and defense, giving him 5 links as well, and then you would really start to look really good next to each other. But it's okay, they're floating anyway, so it's not too much of a problem. Luckily, the Strength Demon King Piccolo does do the really cool effect of greatly lowering attack, which will help stack up when it rolls in with the Oob attack. So really, that's what he's there for. We just use him to stack in the lowering attack on the unit, basically, that Oob has attacked, and that will really help out the team. So now a couple turns have gone by. Obviously now the second time Oob comes onto rotation, he's picked up a little bit more attack and defense, and we've lowered the attack quite a bit, obviously, of the opposing enemies, so we at least have a little bit more comfort in having him tank. Obviously getting the stun is super important for him as a unit, so we really want to make sure that we can get that stun by getting him super attacks. The only problem with this Oob that I find, obviously, in SBR events, is just that his attack and defense doesn't stack up at the pace you would want it to. Ideally, you'd want it to stack up a little bit faster, but it just really doesn't seem to want to get there. Sometimes it can lag a little bit behind, so that is something we want to keep in mind when we're using this Oob. But other than that, we shouldn't have too many problems in terms of performance of this team. So not as many free-to-play cards maybe as you'd want. I mean, yeah, okay, we have quite a few. We obviously have Oob, Demon King Piccolo is technically a free-to-play card, and the Metal Cooler, and obviously the Marjube. But, you know, they're not easy to get free-to-play cards. It's not like Bio Broly, which you can just drop from an event. They are quite difficult-ish to get. I mean, you have to finish Ultimate Challenge probably 2 or 3 times to be able to have a copy of Oob and a copy of Metal Cooler, which are probably enough at their 55 state. And then you need to finish the World Tournament in the top 150 local to get a copy of Demon King Piccolo. So even though it is doable, it's definitely not something that your starting player will have. This Frieza here is pretty good. I could only find a 55% friend lead, Golden Frieza. He's going to be one of the main units you're going to want to take on the stage. In fact, he's the main unit you want to take on the stage. He just has a lot going on with him. He can greatly stun. In his first form, he can seal and control things. I actually find that his first form, at least for the first couple rounds, is generally a bit better than his second form. Or maybe that's just at 55% because he doesn't have such a raw increase in terms of stats. But yeah, it's just more because the way he works in first form is so he can seal enemies, which is really good in the Resurrected Warrior stage because there's 2 enemies in every single stage. So that's very good because you're immediately sealing 1. Okay, then secondly, the attacked enemy that he hits loses 30% attack and defense for 2 turns. So that's also very good, especially if you're pairing him with Frieza, who's already lowering their attack and defense by a similar amount, 15%, yeah. So now already that unit's already at 45% attack and defense. Then on top of that, he gains an additional attack and defense for 5 turns and a medium chance of evasion after he gets hit. So yeah, you might take a bit of damage on that first hit, but the additional defense will kick in, the evasion will kick in, he raises defense on his SA. So I just find him in his first form. Maybe it's, like I say, it's because he's at 55%, but I just found him in the first form that he performs a little bit better. So if you're taking a friend lead, if you're taking it 55%, I suggest leaving it in first form for the most part. It will honestly serve you a little bit better than the transform state. Transform state is great, don't get me wrong, does very impressive damage, and you should switch there eventually. But maybe in the beginning, while you're just feeling things out, maybe just take this Frieza and use him and just seal everything up. It's unfortunate we get the Dokkan attack, by the way, on the second stage, but it is one of those things that does just happen. But we'll manage to finish up this round of the SBR without too much difficulty, and we will continue on to the third stage, which is generally usually quite honestly the hardest stage by a significant amount, but I think this team handles it pretty well. The main reason being is obviously the Freezers are quite strong. We have a couple int units which do help due to the fact that they're 2 tech units in the final stage. And yeah, because of that we also don't have a lot of type disadvantage. We don't have any agility type units, so overall it's a pretty good fight for us to take. And then obviously, yes, Frieza manages to prevent quite a bit of damage and control the fight quite substantially. You'll see me use him a little bit more in that first form that you guys see, because I use it to control the fight a lot more with the sealing, the attack and defense lowering, etc. So yeah, just very, very good stage in general. So we'll move on to the next one and see how it goes. In terms of like alternative units that you could use for this, it's difficult to say exactly because there's quite a few different ways the Resurrected Warriors team could go in general. You have quite a few varying options to use for this team. You have the LR Cell that you could use. You could go for like a more cell-centric lineup. I might be doing that for the Extreme SBR. I didn't want to use the Cell, obviously, and his counterpart for this because, I don't like to use some of the LRs in these basic SBR videos. The Broly you could use, you could go for the double Bojack now that Bojack is out. You could go on the super side, you could go for a Bardock, you could go for Angel Goku, you can use Majin Vegeta, you can use Super Saiyan 2 LR Vegeta, there's the SS3 Goku if he gets his EZA, there's the Buu, so there's the Shape Up Buu, there's Demigra, there's the Majin Buu Int, there's Tech Kid Buu, there's Int Kid Buu, there's a lot, there's just a lot of options. Res Warriors is actually a very strong category. You've even got the Mystic Gohan, so there's a lot of good options for Res Warriors. It's a very, very solid, reliable category that can get the job done. But beyond all of those options, we have a pretty good team that's set out right in front of us. And I think this team, for the standard SBR, maybe not so much the extreme one, but this team for the standard SBR is definitely good enough. I think, if you want to run a team for the extreme SBR, I wouldn't suggest copying this one straight away. But the one nice thing about Res Warriors is that a lot of them have lowering attack as a function, which is very, very good. There's also quite a few decent stunning units on the team. You can even go for like a full Wicked Bloodlines team almost, with the cooler and the amount of like golden freezes and res golden freezes and all that's going on. So there's quite a lot of different teams that you can build, and I mean I wouldn't be surprised if the Wicked Bloodlines team is actually one of the stronger ones. I mean, you've got Tech Freezer, who's got big bad bosses on there. You've got Metal Cooler, you've got the Agility Golden Freezer on there, you've got the Tech Golden Freezer on there, you've got the Int Golden Freezer on there, you've got the Int Angel Golden Freezer on there, so you just got a lot. You've got this Physical Freezer on there, so I mean you could definitely just make a full-blown Wicked Bloodlines team. You've got Great Cooler Army on there, so you've just, there's a lot of decent teams that you could run on there for sure. And I don't think it would be out of place for you to run this kind of team. Similarly on the Saiyan side, you've got quite a few Saiyans that you could run there. You've got the Majin Vegeta, the SS2 Vegeta that transformed into Majin Vegeta. You've got the Int Goku as well. I think he's also there. Yeah, he's there. So you've got great units for this fight here. And I mean, if you're gonna run a Res Warriors team, you can run a Res Warriors team. You can use the LR Vegeta SS2 with the Int Goku that triggers his passive. You've got the SS2 Vegeta, you can run him with Broly next to him. You've got some really solid options, so just overall like a solid category, man. So I think you definitely have a lot of options you can run, so please don't watch this team. Don't think this is the only team. There's a lot of varying ways you can go with the team. There's a lot of even better ways you can go with the team probably. Obviously, as we all know, I try to just create as free-to-play-ish friendly a team as I can with the units I have. Like, I don't have Physical Freezer. I don't have Int Goku. If I had them, would I change the side up? Possibly. Definitely is, a possibility. So, yeah, please don't follow these guides word for word. They definitely have a whole bunch of options that you can roll with. So, yeah. But as you can see here, like I say, our main focus is obviously on this last stage here. So in terms of this last stage, one super great perk that we have is that the Oob, that physical Oob, gets his guard because he's fighting an SS3 Goku, right? So focus on the Paikon first, the Pakuhan, because if you take out the Pakuhan first, you actually will keep up the guard for the majority of the fight, because, well, the whole fight, because then Oob will always have his guard active. The reason why that's super good is because obviously Oob can then guard a whole bunch of attacks in first slot or second slot or whichever slot you need him to. And that's really helpful because when Oob can guard those attacks, it just allows us some breathing room and also prevents Oob's biggest liability, which is his slow build-up of his defense. The fact that he's guarding so early on means that even though he has low defense, it's not too much of an issue because he's basically treated as an int unit. So it's very good that it activates in this last stage, and it's one of the reasons why he actually works for this whole event, because even though in the first two events he's not maybe as powerful as you'd want him to be, look here, he's just tanking all of this, every single bit of this, very, very well. So yeah, even though he's not doing as well in the first two events as you want to, he really comes in clutch in this final event because he can just control damage very impressively. Now that we're only fighting Goku, we have a lot more control just in general over the fight. There's only one enemy left. This Frieza, like I said, I left him in first form a lot more in this fight. And you can see why. The ceiling, the attack reductions really helped out a lot. And against Goku, it's really going to help out, especially when there's only one enemy. You can just see there, he's also doing decent damage in first form. So it's not like we've lost too much damage that, you know, we're starting to regret it. There, the seal, the lower, it's just great. It's fantastic. This Goku's not useless now, but he's essentially, you know, frozen. He's not going to be able to do too much unless he manages to somehow super before the Frieza manages to attack in his next turn. That's the only way we'll be able to take considerable damage, but even then the Frieza will still have his evasion active from this time the Goku hit him, plus his extra defense, so it shouldn't kill us. Then obviously in this next turn we'll have the Oob continue to lower his attack, we'll have the other Oob tank the attacks and also have a chance to stun. So really now we're managing to lock up Goku quite well, and from here on out it's basically an easy win. There shouldn't be anything that causes us problems unless we somehow miraculously take like 2 super attacks before Frieza goes, but you can't even take 2 super attacks from one card in the same turn. Only disappointment here is probably Oob stunning. It is only 30%, but it is didn't proc as much as I had hoped it would in terms of this whole stage. I had hoped it would proc a little bit more, but it didn't, which, you know, does leave me a little bit disappointed because that would have really helped us in conserving some items and just making around the whole bunch smoother. He definitely is proccing at about 15-20% here, which, you know, isn't true to his stats. It's RNG, but it's, yeah, it is a slight bit below norm, especially since, you know, he had quite a lot of uptime being in the main rotation, so could have been a little bit better, but, you know, you might get lucky and might have him stunned every time. So that's just one of those things that happens. It's just a gamble you take. We'll transform Frieza here just, you know, to end the video, I think, and just have like a really nice moment. And Frieza will come out and finish off Goku. But overall, a very clean run. We're obviously nearing the end of the second batch of original SBR. And overall I think they're going perfectly fine. I hope these guides are helping you guys out in the video, and like I always say, if you guys have any suggestions for maybe a team you want to see, a unit you want to see, a type of run you want to do, a category run you want, just leave it down in the comments and I will be able to get to it, and I will do a video on it ASAP and prioritize it over any others. But until then guys, I hope you guys have a good time. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will check you in the next one. But okay, cheers and bye.